reporting the rape, and so I told the officers I was there with
five different times, 3 or 4 different times probably.
The problem with the initial interview when I decided to report the rape was, number one, I had been raped with GHB, so I had a very unclear memory of what had happened. So when I reported the rape, I had decided that I needed to speak with somebody in the police department. So I called. I had been having tremendous head pain, feeling like somebody had hit me in the head with something, and had gone and gotten 2 MRIs at a local hospital. So I finally just decided, with the amount of blood that was on my bloody clothing, that it was time to report the rape. Officer Kelly Pugh came to my front door, and I was, as a rape victim, I was very scared, and immediately was put on edge by the police officer. He was very condescending. He was very disbelieving. He acted as though I was the rapist and not the victim. He wouldn't let me sit down during the interview. He had my home pretty much searched while he was there. He had other officers with him. I was made to stand during the entire interview, and at one point I was chest bumped me. Then I finished the initial part of the interview and he left. I was so shocked and dismayed and feeling like I had been victimized again that I went for a walk. When I came back around the corner, I was stopped by 4 cars, and once again, Officer Pugh went over the report with me and was very caustic, and was very concerned about how he was conducting the interview. I felt as though I was the criminal. And in fact, at one point, he told me to stop harassing one of the suspects, and I had had no contact with the suspect save a picture that I sent him on his telephone of the bloody clothing that he had left me with. Officer Pugh was very, very abrasive. He acted as though that it couldn't be possible that a rape could happen between 2 men, that I must have wanted it or something. And I was not very comforted by his interview. In fact, I felt like the criminal and not the victim. And that was the problem with the interview with Officer Pugh. At the initial interview with Kelly Pugh, I gave him some evidence, actually was collected by a couple of other officers. I gave him a blood-soaked covered pair of jeans. I gave him some bloody underwear. I gave him the names of the suspects in the case. I gave him the addresses of the 2 suspects at the time. I told him that there were bloody instruments of rape at the crime scene, a bloody plunger, a bloody Coke bottle, a bloody broom handle, that there were blood droplets at the scene of the crime, and I told him that there were neighbors in the area that had heard Peter DiMartino bragging about the fact that he had raped me. So there was a lot of evidence that I gave him at the scene of the crime, or at the report of the initial crime, and I was pretty adamant that I knew what had happened. The response by the detective that was assigned to the case, the Detective Frank Browning, was no response. The case was given to him in late September, October of 2007. He was given a pair of bloody jeans, bloody underwear, and for 6.5 months, I heard nothing from him. In March, after I was arrested, the 3rd time, I think, the 4th time, he pulled me into this office and he tried to have me tape a confession with one of the suspects, and said to my father, who was present in the interview, that he wouldn't file the case with the DA, even though I had told Officer Pugh that at the crime scene there was blood on the floor in the bedroom and in the living room. There were bloody instruments of rape, a plunger handle, a Coke bottle, a broom handle. that there were suspects in the case, two that I gave him, and later told him about several others. There were neighbors that could have been interviewed. There were a lot of things that he could have done, but he didn't do anything. For the first 6.5 months of this case, nothing happened, and the response is pretty horrible. As a victim of rape, you hope that the response is going to be swift, and in my case, it was slow. Did I receive any threats from the suspect case? Yes, I did, actually. In the next couple of segments, you'll see there was a postcard mailed to my house of a picture of my face being punched out with the title called Perspectives underneath it. I didn't pose for the picture. It was used as an advertisement for an art show gallery. Sent my address to the U.S. Postal Service. After that, I received text message death threat from Stephen Scott Fry, for which he was arrested and put on probation. I received emails from his friends saying they were going to punch my lights out, things like that. I received death threats, and it was very disheartening to know that there was an arrest warrant out for one of the suspects in the rape case, and that the police department wasn't doing everything they could to arrest the suspect, even though I did everything I could to make them aware of what was happening. I was afraid for my family. I was afraid for myself. I was afraid for my friends. This person is somebody that has a lot of money and a lot of money with his family, and could, potentially have harmed myself or my family greatly. And when I tried to make the police department aware of that, it felt like it was falling on deaf ears. After the warrant was issued for the text message death threat, I took the warrant to the Palm Springs Police Department and took a restraining order, a copy of a restraining order that I had issued against Scott Fry. They took the warrant, they took the restraining order, and I was staying at a local motel when Stephen followed me to local movie theater and then followed me back to the motel where I was staying. I called the police, and they responded, gave them a copy of the restraining order and a copy of the warrant, and they did nothing. They gave me a police report number, and once again, the next night when I was staying at the motel, I was again harassed by Fry. My front tire of my car was flat, and a note was left on my car. And once again, I called the police. And once again, I was treated like I was a criminal. And here was the person who had already issued a death threat against me, and I had a restraining order. And again, the police department did nothing to enforce the restraining order or arrest the suspect for a warrant that was already issued by the court. So I feel that the police department once again was treating the victim of a rape crime as someone who committed the crime. And once again, here was the drug dealer, local drug dealer, still sitting at his home, threatening me and telling me that, I couldn't live my life. And the police department wasn't doing anything. It was also very odd that police officers that responded to those threats were the same kinds of police officers, that had responded to other incidents where I was arrested and harassed. Not different ones, the same ones. Officer Nick Barr, Officer Ray Dallas, the same people responding to the complaints that I had against this individual and giving me the same kind of response, allowing this individual who committed a crime against me to continue to harass and